So, if you saw one of my last vlogs, you know that I was cripplingly disappointed by a few of the books that I tried to read for their wintry atmosphere. But over like the last 2 years since I started actively reading again, I actually read a lot of books that have great wintry atmospheres. I actually have like this huge pile. It's not huge, but like it's a pile right here, and I'm gonna tell you about all of them because I want you to have great recommendations. I think winter is an amazing setting, and while I don't really like going outside during it because my nose starts to run like immediately and I'm gonna get a cold again, I really love reading about it, as you can see, and I hope you will too. As you know, I'm more or less primarily a horror reader, so I thought we were going to like get the non-horror stuff out of the way first. The first thing I actually have is a romance. This is Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. It's a YA book and that I read last year, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a like hodgepodge of most of the like paranormal romance cliches of the like late 2000s. This is like very Twilight coded, but this basically follows this girl who has always been obsessed with the wolves that live in the woods behind her back garden. And one day, but the town hates the wolves because they think that they like eat some of the kids or something. And one day there is a uh, thing that happens, and basically a boy ends up shot on her back porch. And she figure like then a romance between them develops, and obviously there's probably some stuff with him that isn't like that he's not quite a normal human or something. I really like this. It's very cheesy. It's very YA coded. Like, it's not like mature YA. It's really like late 2000s. These kids are 16 and 17 years old, but they read like they're 12. But I kind of enjoyed it for what it was. And I'm going to read the sequels too. I have all of them. Like, I went on like a buying spree and I bought all of those. So yeah. Next up, before we get to the horror stuff, I have a pair of thrillers. This is Terminal Freeze by Lincoln Child, as well as Ice Hunt by James Rollins. I read this about 2 years ago, and this one I read last Christmas of 2024. Like, I always forget that the last Christmas is now 2025. This is crazy, people. Like, I can't believe that we already have 2026. But yeah, so this follows like these people in this research station in the Arctic. They discover a kind of creature that is frozen in the ice, and when they bring it in and thaw the ice, they discover that that thing is very much alive. And you can probably imagine what goes on after that. This one I thought was very similar in premise, and I actually like I originally gave this one 5 stars and this one 4. And I don't know if I would give this 5 stars today, but I liked it very much. And this one was actually written before, so I kind of think this ripped this off, but they're both good, I think. And Ice Hunt by James Rollins, this is more of like a political thriller because there's also like these like Cold War-ish shenanigans. I don't even have an idea if it's actually set in the Cold War. I don't think so, but there is this Arctic station that is basically like inside an iceberg, and it was lost for like a few years. Like, I think it's probably like a century or something. Is a century or 10 years? Yeah, probably. I actually have no idea. But it was like lost for a very long time. And then it's rediscovered. And there's like a US a squadron of soldiers that are like sent there to like investigate it. But something in that research station is very much alive. That's all I'm gonna give you for this. I think if you like one of these, you probably like the other one. Again, this was like the original, and like this came out a little later. I didn't even know that. And this is what one like that's more political. This is more focused like just straight up on like creature plot. But I enjoyed both of them. Let's get into the actual horror books with one of my favorite horror books ever, and this is Dark Matter by Michelle Paver. I read this last year I got it for Christmas after loving Wakenhurst by this author. And while Wakenhurst is probably still my favorite, I think this is a very close second. This follows this man, he's down on his luck in 1930s London, and he signs up for this expedition, not knowing what they're doing. And they're going to this island near Norwegia. Yeah, I think so. It's called Gruhukan, and basically they're gonna be there and like research something that I already forgot. And during the polar night. So there's no sun. It's complete darkness all the time, and the sea is frozen. So there's no way out. And basically, he goes there, and slowly, for reasons, his comrades are all forced to depart the expedition, and he ends up alone. And something is with him on that island. It's so like genuinely, this is one of the only horror books that ever has like actually like scared me. Like this has sent chills down my spine. And I read this last year, like over like Christmas. And last year's Christmas was one of the only Christmases in my memory that we actually had snow. So this was perfectly in the atmosphere. I really recommend this. And secondly, we also have, this is Michelle Paver's like second horror novel. This is Thin Air. This follows an expedition into the Himalaya. It's very similar in structure. And I think this one is also good. But if you read one of hers, I would definitely recommend Dark Matter. Because this is less scary and it still has, yeah, it's like very similar, but if you want one, then read those. But if you like this, then I would recommend this very much too. Next, this is also like horror, but of another flavor. We have The Shuddering, as well as Near the Bone. And this one is by Anaya Albarn, and this is by Christina Henry. This one was one of my favorite books of 2024, and I also read this in 2024, and I liked it, but it's not as good. This one is basically my favorite video game, Until Dawn, but in book form, so you know I already love this. But it follows like this group of like, I think they're like 20-somethings, and they go to their parents, like they have really rich parents, and they have like a lodge in the mountains, and they go there, and then they get trapped in a snowstorm, and something is with them on the mountain. I really realize that all of my premises sound similar, but this is really just because I'm a terrible storyteller. This is not because of the books. I promise you, this is like it's not like very well written, and the characters are not great, but this is, if you like B horror movies, this is amazing. And again, if you like Until Dawn, then this is going to be so for you. It actually came up before Until Dawn, which I didn't even realize until I read this, but I absolutely love this. And this is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. This follows like this woman. She lives with her husband isolated on this mountain, and they have like a very puritanical lifestyle. There's nobody with them, and her husband also doesn't like really like to have strangers on the mountain, so they are just completely cut off from the outside world. And one day she sees some paw prints or something in the snow, and she realizes that it's like very quiet, it's very strange, and something is not right. And yeah, this also has like a twist that doesn't even have anything to do with like the main like plot that I just explained to you. There's like a whole nother thing, a subplot that's going on. And it was like, I would advise you to like trigger warnings for this even rather than this one. But I thought it was very good, even though because of that. It's just, if you don't like abusive husbands and stuff, I wouldn't really recommend this, but it is still a good book. Then we have another two more like creature type things. This is Snow by Ronald Mulvey, as well as The Broken Places by Blaine Daigle. The Broken Places is more of like a folk horror. This follows this guy. He also has a lodge for some reason, but it's not like as luxurious. It's really like just a hunting cabin. And he was there when he was a kid, and he saw something. And then they didn't go back there for like a long ass time. But then his father dies, and he goes back there with his friends. And he realizes that this whole place has like a very dark secret. I thought this was really good. I hated, like, I really didn't connect to any of the characters because it's like, it's not like really a dude bro horror book, but it's kind of in that like vein. If it's kind of like Stephen King-esque in that sense, and I never connect like to male characters at all. So this was not great in that sense, but it's probably like for other people. But like the horror aspects in this are amazing. Like this is also like genuinely freaky. Like really, really good. And then we have also Snow by Ronald Mulvey. I really enjoyed this. This is about this guy, his flight got cancelled because of like heavy snow, but he really wants to see his like child. So he basically ends up driving with a few other people like through the snowstorm, and their car breaks down outside of the city, and then they see this strange man with like slashes on his back stumbling out of the snow and blabbering about his child that got lost, and like they can't go anywhere, so they follow him into this town, and there's something very, very wrong with that town. Again, it's very similar to everything like I've described lately, but if like that style of horror like works for you, this, I think pairing with this is very good, because like Ronald Malfi's characters, like I read another book by him that I can't remember the name of, but I'm gonna insert a picture of it somewhere. That was like cosmic horror, and I thought that one was like very good. It was like more literary, and this one like really felt more dude bro-y, more like Stephen King-y. I didn't really like the characters, but they were okay. And what I really didn't expect was how vicious this was. Like, really don't get attached to any of the characters, because like death comes quickly in this book. And yeah, I thought this was really cool. And for my last pair of recommendations, I have actually not like any like theme for this as I did for the other ones, but I'm just gonna recommend them anyway. This is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wopkishig Rice, and this is Stolen Tongues by Felix Black. Well, I guess we'll start with this one, because this one is actually probably out of all of these books the one I'd least recommend. It's only on my shelves because I really like the prologue. But this follows Felix. His name is the same as the author, which I thought that was very strange. And he and his fiance, I think, they're going to this cabin that like his fiance's parents own, and there is like heavy snow outside. It's like should be like a romantic cabin getaway, which I think was also like the title of the original creepypasta this was based on or something. But yeah, they are there, and then like in the night, something is talking to his fiance through the window, and it's very creepy. I really like the prologue of this as well as the first chapter, and the book really went downhill from there. But I thought like the prologue and the first chapter were so good, I still got 3 stars. So if you're in for a letdown, and I saw people, this is genuinely a very loved book. I didn't, but you probably will love this based on like the mainstream opinion. I just thought that nothing could live up to the prologue and the first chapter, but I still would like recommend it for that. And if you like don't want to read this book, you can also just like look up the original creepypasta, which cuts out a lot of the parts that I didn't like. It's not as well written or spooky, but if you just want like the original experience and like the good parts of the book, look up the creepypasta. And then we also have Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wopkishig Rice. This follows this indigenous community in northern Canada, and they basically there is a heavy snowstorm, one like heavier as everything that has come before, or they're like not prepared for it, and the communication with the outside world is suddenly lost. And it's a story of survival. It's a story of how kind of colonization and the forcing of Western traditions on these people actually impacted them in a negative way, because now they are like dependent on these structures that they weren't dependent on before, and it really like is at a disadvantage in this like winter. I thought this was very good. The writing is a little rudimentary, but I read this like last June or July, and I felt cold. Like reading this made me actively like shiver, and it was like hot outside. So really also a great atmosphere. So if you read any of these books or have like recommendations similar to them, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. I'd love to know them. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed the video.